Live from the Don and Lorena Meyer studio at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln College of Journalism and Mass Communications, this is Nebraska Nightly.
Welcome to this special edition of Nebraska Nightly. I'm Harmon Johnson.
And I'm Sophie Farrell. Earlier this month, it was announced that the current dean of the College of Journalism and Mass Communications, Sherry R. Vail, would be stepping down from her position here in Lincoln to return to her alma mater, North Dakota State, to be their next provost.
Dean Vail has been in her current position since 2020, leading the College of Journalism and Mass Communications through uncertain waters surrounding the recent budget cuts at the University of Nebraska and record enrollment in recent years to the COJMC's 4 majors. She's also laid the framework for experience-based learning through Experience Lab programs.
Our newscast, as well as many of the articles, stories, and broadcasts you see around the college, could not have been possible without Dean Vail and her team. Their forward-thinking advanced our students and shaped them into outstanding journalists.
Dean Vail was able to join me in the studio last week to reflect on her time here at Nebraska. Welcome over here to the interview set. It's such a pleasure to be joined by Dean of the College, Sherry Vail. Dean Vail, thank you for joining me for this little sit-down.
Absolutely. Happy to chat with you.
So, let's just get into your start of your deanship. Take me back to 2020. COVID, it was kind of a wild time. What was that like?
It was certainly wild. I was still at the University of Kentucky at the time, so I was Associate Dean, Department Chair there. But COVID was going on. The interim here wasn't real comfortable with making some of the decisions that would have lasting impacts on the college. So I started joining the all-college meetings in March. Just to get a feel for what was going on, making sure that I understood the challenges of budget cuts that were coming through at the time. I mean, if you remember back to that time, we were wiping down equipment and putting it off to the side in quarantine to get it ready so that we could bring it back out and share it with students. So there's a lot happening at that time that we needed to be involved in. And then my first official day was July of 2020, which was walking around this building with a 6-foot pole separating desks. So that's how it all started.
Where we have gone from then to now is so amazing. What were some of the goals back then, knowing that it was going to be a different start to your deanship here with the pandemic going on?
Yeah, you know, really it was very much in line with what it was without the pandemic. What the pandemic did do was give me an opportunity to see how the faculty would come together. And that was incredible. They were doing absolutely everything they could do to support students, to move their classes online, to create an environment where students felt comfortable and welcome, and that they had that connection point to the university. So in many ways, that was the starting point of the culture change that ultimately came across the college. Just seeing them all come together under that central vision to support students. That was the starting point for everything that we developed from that point on.
We'll talk a lot about culture throughout this because it has changed so much, but what maybe has developed the most since that time?
Yeah, certainly the Experience Lab has been the most visible aspect of the change here. Bringing our students in. When I came in, the do from day one, that was well before my time. That was very much the motto of the college. But then as we started working through the strategic planning process, which was really key when I was coming in and as we were coming out of the pandemic, the key was that we say do from day one, but you can apply to yacht and might get in your junior year, senior year. There are some depth reporting programs that were very selective. A lot of those programs that just, not everyone had the opportunity to do, and it certainly wasn't happening from day one. So to be able to bring folks together around that as our aim one of the strategic plan was huge. So I think that would be probably one of the most visible aspects, particularly that students see in the changes across the college.
We'll talk about the Experience Labs here a little bit later on. The COJMC family, that has been a motto that I've seen developed in the couple years I've been here. You talked about that culture change. How did you build that, and where maybe are we now as from the past?
Yeah, the COJMC family, that hashtag was actually before my time too. So that was maybe a vision, a hopeful vision that really came into being coming out of the pandemic. There was also some changes in staffing. We had some folks retire. We made some really incredible hires that brought new energy and excitement to the college. So I think that was really key to the culture change too. And building that strategic plan was what what brought everyone together. We all started rowing in the same direction because every single member of this college, every faculty member, every staff member, plus we had student representatives as well as alumni and community members who are on all of those different task forces. There isn't anyone in this college who could have said, oh, I had no idea we were doing that, because they were part of that planning process. And I think the shortest meeting we ever had in the history, at least in the time that I've been here, has been that unanimous vote to approve our strategic plan that spring of that first year. To be able to go in, we called the meeting, here's the plan, it's already been read through, let's call a vote, unanimous vote, meeting was over. And we had a plan to kick off that next year.
How do you get all of your faculty and staff to buy in like that?
Making them part of the process. It wasn't me coming up with a plan. I didn't write that plan. I didn't pay a couple faculty members to have a course release and do it on the side. We did it together. So we actually created a process where we went through each of the task force, put together a proposal first for our aims, for our strategies, for our objectives, each iteration of that, then went to a review committee that gave feedback, that went back to that task force, who then went through and made another change to it, and we continued to do that through each step of the process until we got to the end of that plan. How you get everyone together is you actually bring them together and you incorporate their voice into the plan.
A little bit about the equipment changes that have happened here at the J School. We have this beautiful studio. We have the KRNU upgrades that are pending. We've had the third floor studio go through renovations with the Smart Lab. How has that helped build the student experience, and why maybe has that been a big priority for you?
Yeah, I think the environment has so much to do with the culture as well. I mean, if we're going to say do from day one, then you've got to show it. You've got to show it off. I mean, as much as we lose in audio quality by not closing that third floor balcony, we gain in visibility. That you can have potential students coming in, walking around, looking down from the balcony, seeing the newscast happen. I mean, that's huge. And even the environment when you walk in the door. So before you were a student here, you would walk into Anderson Hall and it was dark wood paneling with plaques on the wall. And that was it. We opened up that lobby that first year. It was COVID. Students were out anyway. It was a great opportunity to get that work done. So creating that space in the lobby was a key part of it. We put signs on our building. There wasn't a sign on the building that said that this was the College of Journalism. I mean, creating that, just the visibility of it where you can see those lighted signs from the Capitol and the Union to be able to identify us and bring students to us. I mean, that makes an impact. And part of it too is getting feedback from students. So upstairs in the Freedom Forum area, or downstairs in the Freedom Forum area, that changed because of feedback from the Student Advisory Board. They mentioned that there wasn't really a place to do homework in a quiet space. If you remember, we had kind of lounge furniture in that space, and then they'd get shushed by the advisors or the classes that were going on. Okay, let's change it. Let's create a space where students can do their homework here. My goal is to keep students here as much as possible and bringing them in to do their homework right in the middle of all their advisors so that they can always be there and ask a question. I think that's a real key to making sure that they understand people are here for the students. They want to help the students. We want them in the building. We want them to be a part of this culture. So I think creating that environment for that is a key part of it too.
You mentioned the signage that you can see from the Capitol all the way to the Union, but now there's even more students than ever that are out and about repping the College of Journalism brand. How big is that in continuing to grow?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. We had our largest freshman class in the history of the college a couple years ago. We had our second largest class this year. We currently have the largest number of majors we've ever had. So the growth in the program, a lot of that comes from just finally telling our own story. I think that was one of the biggest challenges that I saw when I came in as dean, is that I'm coming around, I'm doing the visit, I'm meeting with people, and I don't know if it was just like the Midwest humble aspect of it, but man, we needed a little bit more swagger here. And I think adding some of the facilities, building up the experience lab, getting students in to experiment, to play, to fall in love, all of that, that's part of bringing up the image of the college and showing off what we do here. And I think that's also helped build our brand, build our presence across the industry, and made students want to come to us.
And continuing to talk about students, scholarships are a big thing that have been talked about the last couple years. how important is it to maintain relationships with alumni, with donors, and how important is it that the college continues to provide scholarship opportunities to all of these new students? Like you said, we have one of the biggest classes we've had in the history of the college.
Yeah, it's huge. Tuition is increasing, that's part of it, but it's also bringing students here and making them feel wanted, and that's an important part of scholarships too. So having a strong relationships with our alumni, with our donor base, which we do, it is incredible to see donors come back and invest in the future of our industries. You hear, especially when I was coming in at that time, oh, well, journalism is dead, all of those things that you hear. Well, clearly not, based on the investment that has come into this college and how people are looking to build up the next generation of media professionals. I think that's a key part of it, is creating those relationships back and forth. And that's one thing that we really focused on. So we launched the scholarship brunch that second year I was here. So we actually bring the donors and the students who are receiving those scholarships together. So then our donors get to know the students who they're investing in. The students get to know that these are not just some random names of people, but they're incredible individuals who have had long-lasting careers and who believe in them and want them to succeed. And I think building those relationships also sets the groundwork for the future, when those students are then those incredible professionals with those amazing careers, that they know how important it is to invest back in the students. So a lot of times with fundraising, we talk about you're always planting the tree for the next dean to sit under. That's part of it. You're building that tradition of giving so that we keep those alumni coming back, building those relationships with students, because it is generations of journalism and media professionals who we are educating here.
Let's talk a little bit more specifically about the Experience Lab. Yeah. It's kind of been the crown jewel of the student experience here. Where did that idea come from, first of all?
Yeah, it absolutely came out of the strategic planning process. That was the conversation. Everything I heard when I was coming in, oh, well, hands-on experiential learning, it's really, really important in this college. And as we were talking about how do we bring that down further into lower level classes when students first come in. And really for me, the inspiration was in the listening sessions I had when I first came in as dean. I can remember sitting down with a journalism student who was changing their major because I think they were second semester sophomore year, and they had an assignment where they were forced to go interview a stranger, and they couldn't do it. How do you get to second semester sophomore year and realize you are not equipped to be a journalist? I mean, just changing the curriculum. Information gathering is now required for semester freshmen. Getting students out there, getting them to do open records requests, getting them to do interviews, just to get out there and play around with it. Because yes, we want you to come in, dive in, fall in love with your career. We also want students to figure out fast if they are in the wrong place, if this is not the career for them. Because our careers, our industries are too challenging and pay you far too little for you to not absolutely love it.
The Experience Lab has seen a lot of growth the last couple of years, to the point where the advising are starting to have to kind of turn away some students and say, we're full. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's setting up how we can build this out a little bit farther. I mean, it's exciting from a growth standpoint. It's challenging from a resource standpoint, right? We want to add additional leads. I would love to add some other experience labs. I know of at least 2 that are basically waiting on the wings for us to have the funding to be able to support it. So the next dean coming in, we've laid some good groundwork, but they've got work to do too. In order for us to keep expanding it and expand into new areas, so like esports, like an area around more of sports promotion, doing some sports management stuff that we could do beyond what we're doing right now in unlimited sports. I think there's a lot of opportunities there. I know there's a wait list of 32 students right now for unlimited sports. So we need to consider how we can expand out those opportunities. And that'll be coming along with fundraising and being able to expand those opportunities for our students.
Do From Day One was here before you were here, but the Experience Lab, how has that just advanced where the college is?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of set the bar. I mean, I think back to when we went through accreditation last year, the year before, the accreditation team, we had a little bit of a spy in that Zach, one of our staff members here, he actually drove the van for the accreditation team back and forth to their hotel. And on the way to the building, they were talking about how do you get students engaged in experiential learning, but how do you make sure that they do it? It's not just an option for them to consider. You don't want students to graduate without actually having to do that experience. And then when they got in the van to go back to the hotel, the chair of our committee said, that's how you do it. The experience lab is how you do it. You figure out a way, you get them in, give them the opportunity early, as we do have students who are coming in and starting in the experience lab as freshmen because they already have accumulated some hours. But as long as you can etch out an initial story, like we're getting you into that initial writing class so that you can be productive in your time here, we want to get students involved as much as possible, as early as possible.
How has all of that been used as a recruiting tool to get those record numbers of enrollment?
Yeah, Alex Fernando is amazing, as you all know, as an ambassador, being able to work with high schools, do from day one, before day one, we're like doing do from the semester before day one, the in the studio events, the in the agency events. I heard this morning they're gonna do a photo recruiting event where they prepare students to get ready for state basketball coming up. So going into those high schools has helped immensely with recruiting. Oftentimes when you're recruiting potential students, you have to go in through the high school counselors. We kind of sidestep that by going directly to the teachers in the high schools. And a lot of that helps because we also host the Nebraska High School Press Association. We do the convention here every fall. We do the camp during the summer. We work closely with those teachers now. So that helps us build those relationships so that we can do from before day one as well.
It's no secret what's been going on this semester with the university and the budget cuts that we all faced, and you had to help kind of guide a nervous college through this process. What was that like, and how did you kind of keep everybody together?
Yeah, certainly hard. There are a lot of things on the table when the initial budget discussions were happening, and I was just very transparent with the college. I had first meeting of the semester with all faculty, all staff, said this is the situation, this is what could happen, this is what I think will happen. So I was doing some guessing in some ways based on what I knew and the conversations I had had. Ultimately, it ended up being not as bad as it could have been. Certainly for our college, it's still gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt for a long time, losing some of those senior faculty members, especially in broadcasting. But we had also kind of set it up for that opportunity coming later down the road. So adding Christian Anderson, adding Ken Fisher, those individuals coming in were key. We already had Alan here, we added Ryan Tan. So these are folks who are in the kind of that media production area. So they'll take some of the place of the folks who are retiring. It's still gonna be a hard loss. But I feel like we're ready for that. There's going to be a need for healing across campus for our college and having those big losses, but across campus for the programs that we'll lose as well and the challenges we'll face moving forward. So much of what students see, the fun aspects, stuff like this, that has nothing to do with the state budget. It has everything to do with our partnership with the foundation and fundraising. So we could not do what we do here without the support of our donors and alumni. But those state-aided budgets support faculty and staff salaries. So that it's gonna hurt if we aren't able to replace those faculty.
What do you say to those faculty who did stick with you through this process and were able to kind of take the hard gut punch, and now we're kind of reaping the benefits of getting through the process?
Yeah, just thank you. I mean, there are incredible, incredible people in this college who have been by my side throughout this. Again, yes, I'm the dean, I'm the leader of the college, but I am certainly not doing this work alone. And the partnership that we have, the culture that we have now, that co-JMC family aspect of it, it's just a different place than it was 5 years ago, and I'm incredibly proud of that.
You've been around the country a little bit as a scholar, as an administrator, Oklahoma, Kentucky, now Nebraska, but you're heading back home, North Dakota, North Dakota State Provost. Can you just kind of explain a little bit to the people that don't know what that is, and then what does that mean to you to head back to your alma mater?
Yeah, so a provost is essentially the chief academic officer of the university. So over everything from faculty affairs to student affairs, student success, all curriculum, the academic side of the house. So think of almost everything but athletics, government relations, and facilities. So what's meaningful for me is the opportunity to enact change across a campus. I have absolutely loved my time as dean. Best job I've ever had. Honor of my career to have been dean here. This is an opportunity to expand that across campus. Everything from engineering to nursing, and to be able to have that same foundation of a land-grant university and my home state. There is a need for nurses in rural Nebraska. There is a need for strong engineers out in the Bakken oil fields, for business leaders, for communicators, all of that in the state of North Dakota as well. So to be able to go back and have that impact across the university, but really across the state, in my home state where my parents still live, my husband's parents still live, 3 of my 4 sisters are there, his brother is there, so we have a lot of family there as well. It's a really incredible opportunity to go home.
When you think back on these past 5+ years here, what's going to stand out to you the most?
The people. Like I said, just incredible, hardworking, dedicated people who I will miss greatly.
Dean Vale, thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
A farewell open house for Dean Vale will be held on Thursday here in the Don and Lorena Meyer studio from 4 to 6 p.m. to celebrate her leadership and wish her well as she begins the next chapter of her career.
Nebraska Nightly would like to again thank Dean Vale for taking some time to talk with us, as well as being one of the biggest support systems for our efforts in our Experience Lab. Dean Vale has constantly been there for us as we've evolved, especially last fall during election night when she made sure everyone who was here was fed and supported as we broke news late into the night.
Congratulations, Dean Vale, and we hope for nothing but the best in your future endeavors.
And thank you for tuning in to this special edition of Nebraska Nightly.
We will be off the air until around mid-February, but we will continue our regular Tuesday and Friday newscast schedule then.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and until next semester, have a great night.
Nebraska Nightly is a production of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's College of Journalism and Mass Communications.